Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my review for The Rescuers, which came out in 1977. It's the fourth film in Disney's Bronze Age. Not only is it the last Disney movie of the 70s, but it's also the last movie to be directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, though he would go on to produce the first movie of the 80s, The Fox and the Hound. The movie opens up with a little girl named Penny who sends a letter in a bottle to the Rescue Aid Society, this group of mice who answer calls from children to pretty much help them, hence the name Rescue Aid Society. They send one of their best agents, Miss Bianca, who also takes the Rescue Aid Society janitor Bernard with her to try to rescue Penny, who has been kidnapped from an orphanage in New York City by Madame Medusa, and their big hideout is in Louisiana in the corpse of the Mark Twain riverboat from Disneyland. I'm saying that because I'm a California native. If I was from Florida, I'd probably say the Liberty Bell before I would say the Mark Twain. But anyway, Madame Medusa wants Penny to try to retrieve this rare diamond called the Devil's Eye. And that's the movie. This is one of those Disney movies that I remember seeing, if not the whole thing, then definitely half of the movie. But even then, I couldn't remember all the details to it. And I really wasn't all that excited to revisit this movie because the Bronze Age just feels like it's kinda lackluster. Even though The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is great, that technically is a series of shorts strung together into a feature film. So in terms of the actual feature films made during this time, they've just either been bad or simply okay. And with The Rescuers, I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. I didn't love it, but it was definitely a lot better than the Aristocats or even Robin Hood. Now, I won't say that I love this movie or that it's even great, but I think there's a lot in this movie that is definitely an improvement from the Aristocats and Robin Hood. The animation still looks kind of rough in certain areas, especially when you get to Madame Medusa and her henchmen. But I think when it comes to the animal characters, not only are there not as many sketch outlines as there were in the previous films, but the movement of these characters feels a lot more fluid. It has a darker color palette to it. It's not as bright or colorful as Robin Hood was. And there are a lot of parts of this movie that kind of reminded me of a Don Bluth film. Which, fun fact, Don Bluth was actually an animation director for this movie. Because he had worked with Disney a couple times prior to going off and making his own stuff. And if you don't know who Don Bluth is, he's made movies like The Secret of NIMH, American Tail, and probably my favorite of his movies, The Land Before Time. And not just the look of the movie, but the overall feeling and tone felt like something Don Bluth would have made much later down the line. I even like the two main characters of this movie, Bernard and Miss Bianca, voiced by Bob Newhart and Eva Gabor, respectively. And I think what I like about these characters is that while they're not really super interesting, their personalities and just the overall chemistry they have really shine. Bernard is an incredibly awkward janitor who kind of gets roped into this adventure by Miss Bianca, who is head over heels attracted to Bernard. And Bernard is somewhat cowardly, he's timid, whereas Miss Bianca is very much all about the thrills and excitement. And she's just super positive all around, even in the most dangerous, insane situations. So I think these two characters make for a really great pair, and that's also reflective within the voice work. I think Madame Medusa is a pretty fun villain as well. Not one of the most memorable villains, but she's definitely over the top, she's sadistic, she's just flat out nuts. And in a way, she feels like the forgotten middle sibling to both Cruella de Vil and Ursula from The Little Mermaid. In fact, I'll go farther than just the middle sister. I get the feeling that Madame Medusa is the precursor to what Ursula would become. Because Madame Medusa has two pet alligators that are not only incredibly loyal to her, but have tons of personality, in the same way that Ursula has Flotsam and Jetsam in The Little Mermaid. I mean, her two alligators are definitely more competent and more loyal than Mr. Snoops, who I kind of compare to Otis, Lex Luthor's henchman from the Superman movies, which, by the way, rest in peace Ned Beatty, who passed away literally yesterday as I'm recording this video. By the time this goes up, it'll been a couple days since his passing. There's another element to this movie that kind of gives it that Don Bluth feeling, and that's the fact that it's not really a musical. There are no musical numbers at all, but there are a few song sequences, and they're very pretty. They're very, very well written songs. One of them even got nominated for an Oscar, and they help make the movie a little more mature in my opinion. There are some problems with this movie. The main one for me is Penny. I just think she's kind of a lackluster character. I mean, she's supposed to be the centerpiece of the whole movie. The whole plot revolves around rescuing Penny, but the character herself is just kind of uninteresting, and the child actor that provides her voice is just not very good. Penny kind of reminds me of Michael from Peter Pan, where, sure, cute kid, but not a very good voice performance. And she really hurts this movie more than Michael hurt Peter Pan because, like I said, she's the main focus. And then again, there's some characters that feel rather pointless, and there's a few moments of padding where they just make these scenes to fill up the runtime. But I didn't think it was anywhere as bad as some of the other movies that have come before it. That's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the negativity. This movie is a lot better than I think people would give it credit for. It has a fun sense of adventure. Your two leads are very charming. I do like the look of the movie, even comparing it to some of the movies Don Bluth would make after he left Disney for good. And even if you don't like this movie at all, which I know it's not one of the most popular Disney movies out there, you still have to give it credit for one thing. Well, I guess two things. This is the first Disney animated movie to feature both Glenn Keane and Ron Clements as character animators. Anyone who's a fan of Disney and is around the same age as I am knows these two names. But if for some reason you don't, or maybe you're just younger, these two are a couple of the main names that would be responsible for the Disney era that would define my generation. Ron Clements would often collaborate with John Musker and direct movies like The Great Mouse Detective, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Princess and the Frog, Moana, to name a few. And Glenn Keane would pretty much animate some of the most iconic characters within the Disney Renaissance, like Ariel, like Aladdin, like the Beast, like Tarzan. There's several other characters that he's been responsible for, but we'll get to the Disney Renaissance soon enough. Just hang tight, because I imagine that's the era most of you are probably waiting for me to talk about. But as for The Rescuers right here, it's a good movie. It's not great, and Penny is definitely a detriment to the movie. Not to the point where she ruins it, but again, for being the main focus, she is not the strongest aspect. But that being said, there's a lot in this movie that you can admire. It's better than the first two movies within the Disney Bronze Age, which is also known as the Transitional Age. And I feel like this movie is definite proof of that transition because, like I said, it's the last movie to be directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, and it's the first movie to feature a couple of big names from the Disney Renaissance. So if you haven't seen it, I'd say give it a shot. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering if I'm going to talk about the big nudity controversy within this movie, which is the poster in the background of a topless woman. And I gotta say right now, I won't say much about it because it's been removed in some of the home video releases. I think they removed it from Disney Plus, even though Bart's penis in the Simpsons movie is still on full display. But I just don't think it's really worth talking about because it passes by so quickly that you have to go frame by frame in order to see it. And to me, if there's a controversial aspect of the movie that can only be seen if you go frame by frame, I don't think it's really worth talking about. However, if that's not the controversial thing that some of you are talking about, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll just reply with my opinions. But anyway, there you go. That's my review for The Rescuers. And like I said, this was the last Disney animated movie of the 70s. Next week, we're going to be talking about the first Disney animated movie from the 80s, The Fox and the Hound, which I have never seen. I don't think I've ever watched a full scene of this movie. So this is going to be a very interesting first impression, I'll say. But first, I want to know what you guys think about The Rescuers. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for The Rescuers. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day, and take care of yourselves.